The humid summer night wrapped around the Atlanta streets like a heavy blanket, clinging to everything it touched. Inside her patrol car, Officer Victoria Hale felt the air conditioning blasting against her skin. Yet it did nothing to ease the restless heat building in her chest. Though still young and relatively new to the force, she carried herself with the hardened arrogance of someone who had long since stopped respecting the boundaries of her badge. To her, the city was not a community to protect, but a hunting ground where she reigned as the apex predator. Her fingers tapped impatiently against the steering wheel as her eyes scanned the sidewalks near Piedmont Park. Her record told a troubling story: aggressive drug busts, mixed with a disturbing number of excessive force complaints. She had faced internal investigations more than once, yet each time she had slipped through, protected by silence and clever maneuvering. With every complaint dismissed, her belief in her own invincibility grew stronger. The radio crackled to life with a call about an armed robbery suspect: a black man, roughly 6 feet tall, wearing dark clothing and a hoodie, considered dangerous. A vague description, but to Victoria Hale it was an open invitation. She slammed her foot on the accelerator, the engine roaring as she sped through a red light. Determined to claim the caller for herself, she found her target on a quiet residential street lined with old oak trees. A tall black man walked calmly along the sidewalk, checking his phone. He wore a dark navy windbreaker over a gray shirt and jeans, not a hoodie, and he was not running or acting suspicious. None of that mattered. She tapped the center of her body camera without turning it on, wanting full control over how the story would be told. Then she hit the siren, swerved hard to the curb, and threw open her door, her hand already resting on her weapon. Special Agent Darius Holt did not flinch as the cruiser lurched to a stop inches from his shoes. He slowly lowered his phone, took a steady breath, and kept his hands visible at his sides. His heart rate remained calm. He was not the suspect the radio had described. He was a senior FBI investigator with the Civil Rights Division, leading a joint task force investigating patterns of racial profiling and brutality in this very precinct. Officer Victoria Hale had been at the very top of his list for months. Beneath his windbreaker, a hidden transmitter recorded every sound. 2 blocks away, in an unmarked vehicle, Director Irene Shaw and a tactical team watched through drone feeds and listened in real time. "We have eyes on him." Shaw's voice came through his earpiece. "Do not escalate, but let her hang herself." Hale approached with her shoulders squared and her chin thrust forward, radiating hostility. "Hey, you, stop right there and keep your hands where I can see them." Darius stopped immediately and raised his hands slowly, palms open. "Officer, is there a problem? I'm asking the questions here," she snapped, closing the distance until she stood only inches away. "Turn around. Face away from me. Now." He held her gaze. "Officer, I'm happy to cooperate, but I'd like to know why I'm being detained." "I'm less walking to my car." Her jaw tightened. The calm defiance in his voice felt like a direct challenge to her authority. "You fit the description of an armed robbery suspect," she lied. "Turn the hell around before I make you." Darius remained steady. "An armed robbery? I've been at a dinner meeting at the High Museum of Art. I'm wearing a windbreaker, not a hoodie. If you'd like, I can show you my identification. Don't you dare reach for anything," she shouted, her hand moving to her taser. He kept his voice level and clear, narrating his actions for the hidden recorder. "I am not reaching. I am telling you where my ID is so you can verify who I am. My name is Darius Holt. I don't care what your name is." She cut in, adrenaline spiking. She hated his composure. It made her feel small, and she knew only one way to feel powerful again. She drew the taser and aimed the laser sights at his chest. "Turn around. Get on your knees and interlace your fingers behind your head. This is your last warning, Officer Hale," he said, reading her nameplate. "You are pointing a weapon at an unarmed man who is fully complying. Under the Fourth Amendment, you do not have the probable cause to escalate this to force." Her eyes flared with rage. "Oh, we got a constitutional scholar here," she mocked. "Let me teach you how the law works on my streets." Darius spoke again, his voice steady. "I am slowly going to reach into my left pocket with my left hand to retrieve my wallet. I am unarmed. I said get on the ground." She screamed. He moved his hand slowly, deliberately, with clear and non-threatening intent. But Victoria Hale saw only an excuse. She pulled the trigger. The sharp crack of compressed nitrogen split the air. Two barbed darts shot out and embedded in his chest and abdomen. 50,000 volts surged through his body. Every muscle locked at once. His arms flew outward, his legs stiffened, and he dropped hard to the pavement. The side of his face slammed into the concrete, splitting the skin above his cheekbone. Blood pooled dark under the street light as the current pulsed through him for several agonizing seconds. When the cycle ended, he lay gasping, muscles burning, temporarily paralyzed. She did not call for medical help. Instead, she laughed a cold, breathless sound and holstered the taser. She walked over, drove her boot into the center of his back, and pinned him down. "Not so tough now. Are you, scholar?" she taunted, twisting his arm violently behind him. "I offered you ID." He managed a wheeze. "And I offered you a chance to comply," she shouted, dropping her knee into his spine. "You think you can talk back to me? You're nothing. You're a thug who resisted arrest." She yanked the wallet from his jacket. It was not a regular wallet. It was a federal credential case. When she flipped it open, the gold shield and the bold letters Federal Bureau of Investigation, Special Agent stared back at her. The color drained from her face. Her authority evaporated in an instant. What is this?" she stammered, before Darius could answer. The night exploded into controlled chaos. Two black Suburbans roared in from both ends of the street, boxing in her patrol car. Doors flew open. Tactical agents in FBI gear poured out, rifles raised, red laser dots converging on her chest. Federal agents, "Drop the weapon. Step away from the man on the ground." Victoria Hale froze, hands half raised, the credential case slipping from her fingers. Wait. I'm a police officer. He's a suspect. This is a misunderstanding." Director Irene Shaw stepped out of the lead vehicle, her silver hair pulled back tightly, her expression carved from stone. She walked straight to Darius, ignoring Hale completely. Two medics were already beside him, removing the barbs and helping him sit up. Shaw handed him a handkerchief for the cut on his cheek. "You good, Agent Holt?" she asked quietly. He nodded, wiping the blood. "I'm good, Director." The recording captured everything. The words hit Victoria Hale like another jolt of electricity. "Agent. Director. Recording." Her breath came in short, panicked gasps as heavily armed agents surrounded her. One stepped forward, disarmed her, and stripped away her Glock, taser, baton, and radio. "I have the right to union representation," she cried, tears welling. "I want my captain." "Your captain is currently being raided at his home by another federal team," she replied coldly. "Your union rep can't help you with a federal indictment." Shaw held up a folded warrant. "Officer Victoria Hale, I am Director Shaw with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You are under arrest for violations of Title 18 United States Code Section 242 deprivation of rights under color of law and for federal assault." Darius, now standing, walked slowly toward her. Blood still marked his cheek. He looked at her with quiet, pitying disappointment. "You thought the badge made you a god," he said softly. "But all it did was make you a target for the real law. You swore an oath to protect the Constitution. Tonight, you assaulted it and you assaulted the wrong man. Turn around," a tactical agent commanded. Sobbing, mascara streaking her face, Victoria Hale turned. The heavy metallic click of federal handcuffs closing around her wrists echoed down the quiet street. It was the sound of her career ending, her freedom disappearing. Months later, the courtroom inside the Richard B. Russell Federal Building in downtown Atlanta sat in heavy silence. Darius Holt sat at the prosecution table in a charcoal suit, the faint scar above his cheekbone the only visible reminder of that night. Across the aisle, Victoria Hale looked small and broken in her prison jumpsuit. The evidence had been overwhelming. The crystal-clear audio from his wire, the drone footage showing her bypassing every protocol to attack a compliant man, and the testimony of fellow officers who had flipped to save themselves. The jury deliberated less than 4 hours before returning guilty verdicts on all counts. Judge Sylvia Hart looked down from the bench, her voice steady and severe. Law enforcement officers are granted extraordinary powers by the public. Trust the power to detain, to use force, even to take a life. When an officer abuses that power for ego, they do not merely harm one person. They poison the well of justice itself. You used your badge as a weapon of terror against the very citizens you swore to protect, she continued. The fact that your victim was a federal agent does not make your crime greater in the eyes of the law, but it revealed the full depth of your arrogance. You operated with the terrifying certainty that you would never face consequences. The gavel fell, for the deprivation of rights under color of law and for aggravated assault. You are committed to the custody of the Federal Bureau of Prisons for a term of 10 years. Without the possibility of early parole, Victoria Hale flinched at the sound. As U.S. Marshals led her away, she locked eyes with Darius Holt one final time. He did not smile. He simply nodded a quiet acknowledgement that justice, though delayed, had been served. He gathered his briefcase and stepped out into the bright Atlanta sunlight, ready to continue his work hunting the next predator who hid behind a badge. What a staggering turn of events. Victoria Hale believed she stood above the law, yet she discovered too late that no one is untouchable when the FBI has been watching. This story is a stark reminder that hubris and corruption always meet their reckoning, and when it arrives, it strikes with devastating force. What did you think of Darius Holt's carefully laid trap? Did the sentence fit the crime, or should it have been harsher? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story of justice served moved you, please like and share it with others who believe accountability matters, and subscribe so you never miss another powerful tale. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next one.